kind of like my hot take on this is that if at the very least you can't explain the basic architecture
Mhm.
for how world works, I think people should just sit down and shut up.
Please, please enlighten me. What does poop to earn mean?
It's insane. It the first
Yeah, what's the
meme coin
story?
launched by AI.
Welcome to Sol Brothers with me, Simon, and my good friend Eno, where it's our job to throw you in the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting world.
Our mission is to teach you about the latest and greatest things that are going on in the Solana ecosystem so that you never run out of fun things to talk about with both your crypto and normie friends. Hey Simon, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to see you again. Been a while, been a while. Lots going on these
Yes.
days. I guess you're in South Korea?
Yeah, in Korea, I am going to be moving out of Korea very soon. We're moving over to Vietnam and just celebrated a very relaxing birthday weekend. So it was very good to hang out with the wife and the family.
Yeah, I hope you had a good time there. Moving
Thanks.
to Vietnam, that means you're actually gonna stay for a longer time in Vietnam or just like for a period of time?
We're going to be there for a very, very long time, I
Wow.
believe. So we're going to be in the Da Nang area. So if you're ever
Nice.
around, please visit.
Wow. Okay, that's cool, man. I love Vietnam, and I think it's a good place for crypto. There's a lot going on. We do have some friends that we know from Founders Villa, one that are hanging around in Da Nang, so you can connect with those guys. Cool, exciting, man. All right, so I think we should probably start to talk a little bit about what's happening in the markets, talk a little bit about the price of Solana, what's going on there, the overall kind of state of Solana, I would say, and then we can circle back to the latest and greatest on Solana in terms of products, projects, and obviously also events. But let's start at the top. I think Solana right now is doing actually pretty well in terms of price. It could look worse, especially compared to some of the other tokens. We do have an upward trajectory here, so there's still a lot of room to capture. Whenever I'm hanging out with other people outside, they always ask me, "Okay, Simon, so what's the goal for the bull market? Like, where are we going with Solana? What's the price going to do? Is it still a good time to buy right now?" Obviously, I never give them financial advice, but I give them my opinion, which is everything below 200 right now is still like a good buying region. I think there's a lot of room we can cover upwards, especially in the long horizon. What do you tell people, when they ask you what's the price goal of Solana? Do you have an answer for them, or you tell them, "Oh, I don't have a magic ball. I can tell you."
Well, I think a lot of folks kind of advise that at this time you can kind of expect maybe in like a 2 to 5 year. I know 2 to 5 years is a very large range, but maybe like a 5x price appreciation,
Right.
especially if we're able to flip ETH. So
Yeah.
I think that's quite reasonable, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the chat looks very healthy. The project is super solid. Like, it's Solana. We're talking about a major L1 coin here. And there's a lot of substance below it, right? It's not some random layer one that no one talks about. It is Solana, right? So if a coin can do it, it should be Solana to kind of break out of that lower portion here. And we've been hovering around the range between $119 and like 200 since basically April this year. So like
Mhm.
almost a whole year, right? Um, so it's been a long time. And I think now the markets are I think this week could be quite volatile. We're recording this in the last week of October. That means next week is actually going to be election week. So next week, Tuesday, there's presidential elections in the US. And that usually shakes the market a bit. So I think even this week we might see some vola going up and down. If people anticipate a Trump win, the price might accelerate a bit. A lot of my friends that I talk to, they do tell me once Trump gets elected, they expect a green candle pretty quickly. Let's see if that really plays out. And first of all, let's see who makes the race, right? I think right now prediction markets are still leaning towards Kamala Harris, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
They
no, the
don't.
prediction marker, dude, bro, like the prediction marker, the last time I checked, which was like, I think
Mm-hmm.
like on Friday, like the
Mm-hmm.
markets were like 64% in favor of Trump. Trumpy boy has the upper hand, as it pertains to the prediction markets.
That is actually super interesting. Okay, let's see how it plays out. But like I said, in the long term, I think Solana is still an interesting play. I usually, like I said, like everything below 200 right now, I think it's still an accumulation phase if you want to hold for the long term. If you look at the Solana Bitcoin dominance, there is a lot of room for upside here. Like there's like no breakout right now since early this year. I think once Bitcoin goes up a lot and Solana will follow. Solana will outpace. Overall, I think obviously we're staying pretty optimistic on Solana, and not only on the price action, but also pretty bullish on the ecosystem. Have you seen the post from Mert that he put out?
Ooh.
So he was like, okay, Solana is either exceeding or at all-time highs for TVL, revenue, volume, economic activity, dev activity, transactions, net inflows, deputed stable transfer volume. Not bad for a chain that will never amount to anything according to this app, in brackets, Twitter.
Yes.
Faster. So the bottom line here is just look at the numbers, just look at the charts. Protocol revenue is going up, all-time highs. TVL looks good. We can go higher. Like October 21 was pretty bullish. But again, we're approaching highs right now. DEX trading volume is insane. Frequently challenges Ethereum. And then real economic value, transaction fees and MEV tips is super high right now as well, like already at an all-time high. So overall, I think the state of Solana, pretty optimistic, right?
Yeah, extremely optimistic. I'm really glad to see deduped stablecoin transfer volume is also amongst the highest in all of crypto. So that's very good to see.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. What does that mean for Solana? It means like a lot of people are actually using Solana to transact, right? Like to literally,
Yes.
yeah.
The only thing that you need to know if you look at the data is the size of each transaction. So like my gut tells me that the size of each transaction is going to be below $1,000, which would really suggest retail usage.
Mm,
But otherwise, if you're looking at, tickets of more than like 100K or even like a million, then you'd probably have to look more into the data to see the reasons for that. But
mm.
my strong hunch tells me that it's most likely retail.
I mean, that's what we're here for consumers eventually, right? So at least that's what Solana has been branded as a chain for a long time, the consumer chain. But even there, the tides are shifting a little bit since we see more and more institutional adoption also in Solana. So I don't
Yeah.
even know about the whole consumer chain meta, if that's the right way to put Solana. I think we can do consumer apps really, really well, but it doesn't mean we can't do institutions, right? So maybe we should not
Yes.
call it a consumer chain at all. Anyway, one last fact. As of October 25 this year, it had been 262 days. So now it has been 265 days since Solana's last major outage, which occurred on February 6, 2024. And it lasted 5 hours. So yeah, more than 260 days, almost a full year without outages.
And one thing that Mert screams about on the timeline all the time is that other L2s go out of usage frequently, and
Mm.
no one really screams about it as much as they do with Solana. So there's definitely a double standard there.
I guess people also forgot that Solana was for a long time in a beta phase. And it was for a long time not like the solution was not built to the end. It was literally in experimentation, it's beta, right? So
Yeah.
expect it to fail. But obviously, since it's a running blockchain with live apps and trades going on, it is literally a flying airplane, right? That somehow sometimes loses its acceleration. And sure, this is painful because it might crash, but it never really crashed. Like it comes up again. They keep changing the fucking engine while it's flying. Like they do updates on chain, um, which makes the network more resilient.
And like one kind of particular feeling I have about outages is that as long as nobody loses money, it's fine.
Mm,
Now, obviously, there are probably like in situations for like a perp dex, right? An outage would be catastrophic,
it is
especially if you're long
catastrophic.
on Sol. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But with the exception of perp dex use cases, I feel like for the
Mm.
most part, outages are relatively harmless. But yeah, obviously the more days without an outage, the better.
Yeah, it is better. Like, especially if you want to have big use cases and also with institutions and stuff, we cannot have outages. I think it's like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Have you heard about Tribe Social or Tribe.run? I actually don't know. I'm not familiar with the project, but I think might have some alpha on that one.
Essentially, this is Tribe, but how Tribe works essentially is each chat room has an associated token. So like Bill ZH, who's the founder of Tribe, has his own token. Mert has his own token.
Mm.
If you create it, not every person on Tribe has to create a token, but if you do create a token, then you create a chat room.
Mm-hmm.
So I created a chat room about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so far, it's been mostly up.
Mm. It's going
Folks
up.
have been buying access into my chat room. So
Mm-hmm.
I have about 16 holders.
Mm-hmm.
And the top 12 holders are people who can participate in my chat. If you're not a top 12 holder,
Mm,
then you can't participate in the chat. If you are a top 12 holder, you pay a subscription fee of 5 Eno tokens, in this case, to the creator so that they stay incentivized to keep typing in the tribe. So
mm,
like when I started out, like I minted 500 Eno tokens. And since then I've gotten like, a percentage of a single token as like a subscriber fee for people from people
mm,
in my
mm,
top 12. It's a very interesting concept. I'm very excited to see how Futarchy actually might kind of blend with Tribe. So yeah, super excited about that. I know that Maddie is gunning for the #1 spot on Tribe. We'll see how good he is in his efforts. I also think that, social tokens are a better measurement of a creator's value than things like follower count or likes. You
mm,
can bot, your followers on social media, but like trying to get the
mm,
bots to buy your token, like you're not going to extract more value than you put in. And so
mm,
like the value of on socialified platforms like Tribe feel like a true reflection of the creator's
mm.
actual worth.
There's this concept around this topic, especially I know it from the identity space. It's cost of forgery, basically. So if you want to forge, if you want to fake your followers in that sense, with using bots or something, you have a cost now that is associated with that task, which would be the basically the price of your token and the limit you set to buy yourself in that community. So if the cost of forgery is like $10 or some shit, like it's getting quite expensive to fake follow accounts, which
Mm,
builds a more resilient and more truthful system.
yeah.
Idea is good. Will it see adoption? Difficult to say. Those social apps are always, you've seen what happened with Friends. What was it called even? Friends XYZ, right?
Frentech. Frentech.
Friend,
Yeah, yeah,
Friend Tech. Yeah, you see, I
yeah.
already forgot the name. So like those kind of plays, they're interesting for a time. They get milked and then they kind of go. I think the real heavy lift is to keep this system running and going up and keep the excitement around it.
Totally 100% agree. There are some top creators as well that are not as active on the platform as they
Mm,
once were. And so it is a real puzzle. And I know that Bill ZH, as well as his co-founder,
mm-hmm.
are putting a lot of work into experimenting. Like the app looks different every like few days because they're
Okay,
constantly implementing new features. So that's a good thing. Very
that's a good
bullish on
thing.
people who are
Ship.
experimenting on different ways to get people to engage.
Yeah, 100%. They're shipping. Yeah. Another thing that's new that happened in the past few weeks was that actually Worldcoin started to migrate to the Solana blockchain via wormhole. So basically, the people that do have an World ID and authenticated themselves with their iris to mint their proof of humanity with Worldcoin, they can now do that and verify that also on Solana, even though they minted it on Ethereum. It used to be on Optimism, the minting of the World ID, and I think now they migrated to World Chain, so they kind of spun up their own chain, and then they also bridged was using Wormhole to Solana. So let's see what that does to Solana. So far, I have not seen any big adoption. We do have the kind of controversial opinion also on WorldCoin, which is a thing. Like the image of the company is like, I think you either hate it or you love it right now, because it is obviously kind of a disruptive approach to prove humanity in the internet by scanning people's eyeballs using a futuristic device that you hold in front of your face.
Are you a fan of World?
I'm more a fan than a hater because I'm more in the tech acceleration camp. I like things that are at the edge of innovation, even if they're a bit controversial. I think we need those experiments. We need to run those experiments to proceed as humanity. Otherwise, we're not making progress. So I think it's an interesting concept and it makes sense as well. They use CK technology in the back to kind of make sure your data is not, public and no one can actually tap into your biometric data. They just have the hash that proves that you have a unique iris, which is a good concept because the iris is the most foolproof system you can use as part of a human body to prove uniqueness. Um, it's much more safe than a fingerprint, for example. So the technology itself is pretty good. What I don't vibe with is the whole branding of the company and the way they sell it as well, and some of the marketing related things, how they use their token. Like there's a few things I don't like about it.
Kind of like my hot take on this is that if at the very least you can't explain the basic architecture
Mm-hmm.
for how world works, I think people should just sit down and shut up because a lot of the times I hear very unbased takes
Yeah,
about Worldcoin. They're
exactly.
like eyeball scan or, and I'm all like, is
Mm.
that really? I mean, do you understand how they're sta storing that information? Can you
That a
articulate
bad
that?
thing?
No, then shut the fuck up. Like seriously. Like if you
Mm.
actually understand the underlying architecture and say like, yeah, but here are the gotchas, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, then I'll cede. But otherwise, you know.
yeah, yeah. Which is actually a point that you can apply to many opinions. Like if you have an
Yes.
opinion, please have some like some substance behind it. It just
Yes.
makes it easier to argue with you. Like you know what I mean? Like I love people with strong opinions that they can underlie with actual concepts and ideas and arguments. Like that's really good conversation partners, especially if those opinions are not mine and they might even oppose mine. Those are great conversations, right?
Yes.
Um, but if it's just like an empty opinion and you're just like, oh, it's like, I don't want to put my iris in an eyeball because then Sam Altman has all my data and he knows who I am and where I live. Like, what are you even talking about? Like,
Sure. Yeah.
first of all, Sam Altman doesn't give a shit about you, and second of all, there's no data that's anywhere. So yeah, like to make it clear, I think yeah, get informed about the project and then have a fundamental opinion about it. And then it's cool.
Next up, we have Gigachad, right? Gigachad rallied 91% in the last week. That's pretty crazy. And what does it say? 4,000%,
That is crazy.
4,500% in 90 days?
So this is the daily chart. So the whole thing started like July. This is Maxi. So around July, they got listed on Maxi. They're kind of hovering. There was also a big pump. I bet like a lot of people sold here. And then it got kind of boring for the project. And then somehow they managed to climb all the way up and make another, what is it? Like, yeah, it was like 500% in that whole time frame. That was from September to now. So that's pretty wild. I think actually I don't have a lot of information about the backstory of Gigachad. I think it's just a funny meme. I think people just caught on to it for some reason,
Sure.
and that's how meme projects work, right? It just blew off. So it's a Solana-based meme coin that is still right now, I think quite bullish and successful. So
Mhm.
might be one of the future ones that survive the whole meme bubble. But
Speaking of meme
yeah,
coins, we
exactly.
also have another meme coin that we're going to talk about. Goatsius Maximus, otherwise known as Goat.
It's
Like so,
ridiculous.
like we were just like talking about this before the call, right? It's insane. It the first
What's the
meme coin
story?
launched by AI. So there's some developer that launched this Twitter account called Terminal of Truth. So Truth Terminal, and
Mm,
it tweets all by itself, like, my God, I am feeling good. The tweets are constantly changing. Like there was a period of time where like all of the tweets were like fart in my ass. It was really weird. Uh, but other times it's pretty benign. Like, I'm gonna get an 8 GB SD card full of goatse images in it and play a prank on my friend. And somehow the developer connected this to a meme coin launcher,
hmm
and a wallet that the AI more or less controls. And so yeah, it launched this token, Goatius Maximus. I have a horrible history of fading meme coins, but that's just my fate here. It was
hmm
launched earlier this month, I believe around like October, yeah, October 11th. So it's only been a couple of weeks, and it's currently sitting at about 600 million, which
Yeah.
is absolutely insane. Every single time I think it's going to dump, like over here, it somehow rises back from the dead. So that it's quite impressive.
Mm. It is actually quite impressive, yeah. So meme coins going through the roof. More stuff happening on the meme space, but if you're navigating the space, just make sure stay safe. It's
Yes,
rough out there. It's the Wild West, okay? So keep that in mind.
not financial advice.
Now, what else is happening is there's some utility projects on Solana that are also coming with some news. And I think one of the exciting news would be that the Grass protocol is actually launching its token this week. So if I got it right, it will be out already today, 28th of October. This is when Grass, GRASS, is going to start trading. And Grass protocol is basically helping you to use your unused bandwidth of your internet on your device to earn money with it by providing bandwidth to people that need bandwidth. So it's one of those kind of very revolutionary, interesting projects in the space that are like they've been active for like quite a while now. I think the Twitter account has been around since March 2023. They've been loud on social media as well for a while. The account now has 470,000 followers, so it's been growing. They say they have 2.5 million active users around the world that basically use the Grass protocol to earn rewards on just letting it run in the background and basically share bandwidth with people that need it. So interesting project, probably an interesting token. I'm curious how the token play will play out because as I know they will launch on a few exchanges, so they go down the centralized exchange road. So they secured themselves a few listings on Gate, HTX, and OKX, and so on. So a few others. And right now, the past token launches we've seen, like in all kinds of chains, were all kind of choppy. I think the last one that launched was Scroll, an L2 on Ethereum, which performed really, really bad. The last one that was okay, I would say, that did a quite good job was dBridge. So DBR, dBridge token, the high performant bridge that allows you to bridge from any chain to Solana and vice versa, for most of the chains at least. They also launched their token that went pretty well. They did the route via Meteora Alpha Vaults, where you can liquidity bootstrap your first pools by selling to the community. And they also collaborated very, very closely with Jupiter because they are obviously an LFG Launchpad candidate. But yeah, Grass is doing a different route. They just go on centralized exchanges. No big collaboration with Jupiter or Meteora from what I'm aware of. And the tokenomics look solid. They look all right. So everything looks good. But I think the market will show if there's demand right now for it. And my personal opinion is that they might have spent too much money on the listings. But that's just my opinion because I'm very bearish on paying money for any centralized exchange to list your token. It's just like from the past, look at the past launches that went on centralized exchanges. They all kind of went down. Like, why the fuck do you go there then if they don't have the buying pressure that you need, that you pay money for? And believe me, guys, like listing on Bybit is expensive. Like it quickly becomes 500K ish of real money that you have to put just for the listing. Plus some tokens that they want from your allocation and so on. In my opinion, it's a ripoff.
Yeah, I'm very bearish on sex listing. I am very bullish, however, on all types of projects that decentralize the bandwidth and or the resources that you
True.
can provide on your computer, whether it
Yeah.
be like like for Or, for example,
Mm-hmm.
providing hash power or for render network, like allowing it to use a portion of your GPU so that they can render 3D graphics. Grass allows you again to provide bandwidth to folks who need it. I mean, like all of these types of like I don't know if you would consider them all DePIN, but if you do, then like this
Mm-hmm.
type of DePIN, like I'm very, very bullish on.
No, I think the project and the product itself is definitely worth something. So they did a good job on building it. Let's just hope they don't screw up the project by screwing up a token.
I've decided to try to be more bullish on more things as opposed to constantly talking about what I'm bearish about.
That makes life much more easier, bro. Like
Yes.
it gives you a better feeling going through this crazy crypto world. And there's enough things to be bullish on, honestly. So yeah, well, might as
Yeah.
well, right? Yeah. There's a few centralized exchanges I am bullish on as well. For example, Cube Exchange, which grew
Ooh.
out of Solana. They're also backed by Solana Ventures, I think, or they have some Solana backing themselves. And Cube is doing a kind of different route than many other centralized exchanges. They do call themselves more like a hybrid between a DEX and a SEX because they do have quite a few on-chain elements. And they recently, that was on the 23rd of September, so now it's like a month ago, they started to announce some product updates as well around the Cube Intent Network. They call it Cube Isometric, as I understand it. And it has just been a major kind of tech update that implements four main features into their exchange, which are intent-based transactions, verifiable multi-chain settlement, two-tiered validator consensus and MPC integration layer. So sounds super fancy, sounds very sounds more like Ethereum things in my to my ears, the way they introduce this, because it's very techy. What I'm more looking for is, what does this do for me as a user? And I've been trying to kind of find that out in their content so far. Like, we as traders or projects that want to list tokens, we don't really care too much if it has verifiable multi-chain settlement. I want to know why. Like, what does it do for me?
So I got to know Lynn, who's the COO of Cube. She
Yeah.
travels a lot throughout Asia, and also shuttles back to Chicago all the freaking time. So I don't know how
Mhm.
like crisscrosses the world from Chicago to Asia. It's pretty
Mhm.
crazy, her schedule. But my basic understanding behind all this tech jargon is that through an intent, because Cube is multi-chain, you'll be able to access the liquidity for, like, let's say USDC,
Mhm.
even if it's a Solana transaction from Ethereum as well. Um, Now, I get really confused, or curious rather, about how this might work for like tokens with much less liquidity, right? So,
Mhm.
like for example, Solid, the token itself is currently just going to be issued on Solana, correct?
Correct.
Right. So like I'm wondering whether or not Cube's system would work for tokens that are just on Solana, or
Mm.
is there a way that you can draw liquidity from outside of Solana for the solid token, using this intent-based system? But that's the kind of the basics of what I understood is, especially for tokens that are very, very multi-chain and used everywhere,
Mm.
USDC and USDT being great examples of this.
Mm.
You can source the liquidity from any chain, essentially, which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. But like you said, I think they should, in terms of their communication, they should probably go a little bit less heavy on the tech jargon. Like,
Sure.
it depends what audience they want to touch on, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
also an audience for this kind of language. Like, I think it's interesting and it's exciting, but as a marketer and as someone with an own project, I know how important it is to tell people, why the fuck do I need this technology and what does it do for me? Because that's what matters at the end of the day. So,
Yes.
overall bullish on Cube. They do a good job. I'm also in touch with them. I know Lynn. So, I think there's some good stuff coming. What else? What else do we have on the radar?
Ooh, Bird Eye. Dude, super excited. I mean, like obviously you saw from my screenshot that I use Bird
Use that,
Eye.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
like so what do you use as an expo? I'm just curious.
Yeah. So if I go on the bigger coins, I just use TradingView itself. I just look at the charts, and I have my coin market cap open. But if I go to smaller tokens, like if you want to check Gigachad or all those kind of memes, by now I'm on BullX mainly.
I'm gonna try to show Bird Eye to you because that team knows how to ship. And Ka, if you're watching, hey buddy, thank you for finally releasing this mobile app. I know I've been yelling at you for a very
That's
long
pretty cool.
time, but with this mobile app, we're finally gonna have widgets, Simon, for like, and it's so hard to find good widgets for smaller Solana meme coins, right?
Hmm.
Even for Bonk, it's a pain in the ass, and Bonk is huge, right? So
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy that we're gonna have like a Solana native mobile app that's now I can check
Pretty cool.
prices through widgets that connect directly
Mm.
to a Bird Eye mobile app.
But
Like that's going to be a huge game changer for me.
no, it's true. Yeah. Like, even BullX, they don't have a mobile app. Like, right now, it's really inconvenient. You have, because in BullX, you log in with your Telegram. So normally you go on your desktop, you open BullX, you log in, you click on Telegram bot, and then you log in with clicking a button on Telegram. But on your phone, when you click that button, the Telegram app opens a tab, like a browser tab. So it doesn't go in Chrome or in Safari. It just opens a tab inside of your Telegram. But
Hmm.
then you're stuck there. Like, you close it, and then it might be gone after 5 minutes. It gets lost. You have to log in again. And like, there's no mobile app. So having a mobile app for trading and accessing real, like, quick data for token prices and so on is definitely a game changer. But you're not trading on Bird Eye, right? You're just checking prices. You're just checking
Yes, just
data
checking
points.
prices. But you can connect your wallet and then it'll show you where you've been buying and selling. So that's also like a
Yeah,
very,
that's
very
really
cool
cool.
feature. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I like
Um,
that too. Yeah.
Don't you agree that the mobile experience for crypto sucks? Like we just need a lot more of these teams to be releasing. I mean, I know it's very difficult, especially on the Apple App Store as well as Google Play. But I really want to see more like Solana native mobile apps. Like I'm very excited. And Bird Eye is obviously top of list for me, top three.
Do you know what else is built on the Solana mobile SDK?
I do know that Jay
This.
is working on this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So PlaySalana is also built on the Solana mobile SDK. And it's a Web3 gaming device that is leveraging the Solana technology with a built-in hardware wallet, a touch LCD, a fingerprint
Ooh,
sensor, a quad-core RAM CPU, and obviously Solana mobile SDK. And it looks pretty cool because it obviously gives some retro vibes for everyone who played Game Boys or similar stuff back in the day. It always comes in like it gives those vibes. And yeah, Jay is saying it himself, the best is yet to come because there's not too much of information about the project yet. But I think, yeah, I've seen them pitching as well in Dubai at the Founders Villa. Like they talk about it openly, they're growing. You can pre-order your device already. And I think for Solana degens, like for people like us, it's actually pretty cool. Right? Like I see this and I'm like, okay, I would own one, like just for fun. But I'm pretty excited to see what you can actually play with it. Like how fun is it?
I would love for them to create like a developer ecosystem
Yeah,
for PlaySalana, right?
100%.
There are a lot of game developers, but I almost feel as if sometimes, especially on PC or on web, there's too much freedom of choice.
Mm,
Like you know how what they say about creativity, like constraint actually creates more creativity. And so like if you were to create this developer ecosystem with like, okay, now we're only doing these retro style Game Boy games now. So what can you develop on this platform? There might be like a whole ecosystem for that. Like I certainly would be very interested in playing like Solana specific games built only
mhm.
on for Solana. Like obviously you could probably access it like via web client or something like that. But like I'd certainly play it on that device if it were available. That'd be sick.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, we don't really have this information yet about the games and everything. But yeah, what you can do is obviously you can check their website. You can pre-order the PSG1, which is still live. Like the pre-sale has been sold out. There was like a whitelist sale that has been sold out. Um, but yeah, there's also an NFT you can acquire, the Player One NFT collection. You will gain access to okay, yeah, to the pre-sale, which is closed already.
Yeah.
But there might be still some perks for people that have Player One NFT, so you can also check that out.
And the next thing that we're going to talk about is kind of more DeFi related, or boosts. Like
Mm,
everyone's aware of Or, right? Like they broke the network like a few months ago. Like it was impossible to land transactions. Where I mean, you were on Solana at that time, or at least like
yeah.
aware that we were having trouble landing
Oh yeah.
transactions, right?
I've seen that.
For Or V1, they're currently on V2, but for V1, they launched a bunch of bots that you would use to mine ore, and they were very inefficient, and it ended up exposing like a lot of inherent problems with Solana. So
Hmm.
we fixed those issues, and so now transactions land a lot better. But yeah, no, it's just kind of funny to me that this team they got a lot of noise and attention on the timeline for essentially breaking the network.
Yeah, it's a good sign. Like obviously you're
Yeah.
creating some demand on the network, but they're still around it. They're doing stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah. So they currently have a new DeFi initiative called Boosts. And Boosts is just an evolution of their existing staking program. So in the past, you could take ore and then stake it into Eclipse, which is a developer team that they're working in partnership with. Eclipse is a very early ore member of the ore community. And
Hmm.
you'd earn rewards for staking your ore, right? But
Hmm.
now it's you can earn rewards for staking ore as well as a partner token. So if you LP ore and the partner token into Meteora, you receive an LP token. If you stake that LP token, then ore provides staking rewards for people who LP into both assets.
Mm.
Um, I feel a little how do I put this? Embarrassed to say it. Not embarrassed, but it's kind of like I feel like I'm shilling my own thing here. But we're actually the first partner token
I
for
wanted to
Or.
ask, I want to ask
Yeah,
what
yes.
token can I provide? So give me the answer.
But we're not the only token though. We also have
Yeah.
obviously or Sol, right? So or
Okay.
Sol or ISC, you can earn
Mm-hmm.
4x staking multipliers. But as you also
Mm.
know, there's now a 6x staking multiplier for or Sol,
Mm.
because they passed a few resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it was like 4.7 million was the pass market.
Mm-hmm.
So they were able to pass that resolution. So now they have 6x staking multipliers for or Sol.
Mm.
Remains to be seen what the price action means. I don't understand the timing of the pass market and then like or dumping like another
Yeah.
25%. There's another friend of ours, Squid. You know Squid from Drift?
Drift. Yeah.
Yeah. He's super bullish on ore right now. I know he had a couple of bids in at a certain price that I won't disclose. I'm pretty sure that those he got those bids. So
Mm, nice. Okay. Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
So basically, a good Degen play right now would be to buy Aura at a low price, then buy some ISC, then put that both into Meteora, and then
yeah,
get the reward back. In that case, a 4x, or buy some or a
yeah.
Sol
Get an
and put
LP
that in.
token, stake it. Yeah, get
Yeah.
the boosts.
Mm. And then you get the
Um,
boost plus the price appreciation of Aura in case it recovers.
yes, right, exactly.
Mm.
And the APY is not too bad. The APY right now is like 150%. Obviously APY is a meme. It jackknifes up
Mm.
and down.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
today I was checking it's at 150%. I was like, oh, okay.
Not bad. Yeah, interesting project. I'm pretty bullish that they're still around. So that's good for them. Because they literally came out of Colosseum, right? It was one of the hackathon projects. Like it was one of the winning hackathon projects.
Grand prize winner last year
Yeah, yeah,
of Renaissance.
right.
Or
Okay, so
not
yeah, they
last year,
should
this year. This year.
this year. Yeah, they should stick around.
Yeah.
Yeah, time's flying,
Yeah.
bro. We're still in 2024.
I think they
Crazy.
raised like 3 million, so they'll be around for
Oh
a
wow.
while.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Okay, they grew out of the hackathon state. The next project that we want to look into, I'm like super excited about. I read the bullet point here and I'm like, yeah, please, please enlighten me. What does poop to earn mean?
Yeah. So there's a project called Unko. They're a project based out of Japan, which is probably why they're using Mon, because
Uh,
it's a game where you take pictures of your poop, and I think you can level up the creature in the game based on like how much pictures of your poop you send to this game. And then you might be thinking like, why the fuck would I send pictures of my poop
that's what I'm
to
thinking
these
right now.
people? Yeah, yeah.
So why is
They're
why is poop underrated?
well, I mean, again, people are not very comfortable sending pictures of their poop or sending samples of their poop. This protocol essentially gives you rewards for sending
For doing
pictures
it.
of your poop to researchers. How exactly they use that, whether it be for like dietary research or for like diabetes research, I do not freaking know. But apparently, it is useful to the researchers to have pictures of your poop. So. And
Okay.
it's
I
it's
mean,
it's a serious project. Like I'm joking about it a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit here and there, but it's a very serious project though. They do want to gamify the poop sample research game, so that we can get high quality research ostensibly for health purposes, which is like a noble thing. Um, Trying to use crypto for good.
I love it. I mean, yeah, please check the Twitter channel, guys. Uncommon underscore XYZ. And just check the video they put out. They put a very informative video in the pinned post that kind of explains what they're doing. They're working with Super Team Japan, obviously. They've been part of the Colosseum Radar Hackathon, and they say they want to save the world with poop as a Solana Deepin project. So quite an interesting narrative. I love the marketing you can do around it and the idea that it's still a very serious project. Because you're right,
Yeah,
like you can definitely do something with like they have a point. Like I'm pretty sure
yeah.
they do have a point. So okay, bullish on poop, I guess.
I actually think you have a lot more information on this next project called Future. You want to tell us a little bit more about Future?
Of course, yes. So they've built a new platform which is called Insights by Future. And on that Insights platform, projects like us, for example, or other people that want to put out surveys, they can put out surveys and ask the community, for example, for what kind of product features would be exciting for Solana ID to build, or what kind of governance decisions would people like to vote on for IC, like all kinds of things where you need an opinion on from your community. You can put them out on the Insights platform, and then people can basically give their opinion. And the idea is to have only people vote on that topic that are eligible to vote for it because they're, for example, users of your product. So you can make sure that they really hold ISC or that they really have a Solana ID and so on, so that you make sure that the people that give an opinion are also informative opinions, right? Have informative opinions. So that's the idea about it. There's some overlaps with Solana ID. That's why I know a little bit more about Insights, because we've been chatting with the team of how we can help to make sure that the right users can vote on the right proposals. Interesting project. Looking forward to see more coming from them. I think they're actually launching like now, like very soon, like officially, like the product. That's what I've been told. So you can actually check it out once it's live. So yeah, check Future Protocol on Twitter, future_protocol, and then you'll stay in the loop what's going on with them.
That's actually the main source of disagreement between me and my co-founders is what do you think people will feel about a particular thing?
Yeah.
And because we all have such different backgrounds, like our general thoughts on like how people react is just very, very different. Like we read people very differently. I would love to have a more objective way of figuring out like what is, because I mean, truly, if I look at the kind of win percentages for each of us, like it's pretty evenly split. You know, it's not like any
Mm.
one of us has a better read on the market than anybody else. And so like having a platform that allows you to kind of ask multi-stage questions based on different conditions is amazing. So I'm actually really looking forward to what they put together.
Yeah, I think it's useful. I think it's super useful for projects. Yeah, so let's see the mechanics around it. I'm also interested in kind of the incentives for the users to take part in it. Maybe there's
Mm.
something they can build around that as well using crypto and our tools we have. But let's see. I think the other project I want to touch on is going to be a good segue into our last chapter of the podcast, which is the event section, because Ripe or Pay with Ripe is a project that has been winning at one of the Solana Founders Villa demo days in Dubai. And I know Chuck very well, one of the co-founders, been traveling with him all over Asia as well. And Ripe is pretty cool. Like they just have a very easy to use application that is already being used in the Philippines. I don't know about other markets, but they started on the Philippines. And it's super simple. You can just scan the QR code of any kind of payment provider in Southeast Asia. And there's lots of companies like GrabPay and so on. They just put QR codes on your vendors. So you can buy your street food with GrabPay. But now instead of paying through GrabPay, you basically pay with Ripe, which kind of puts the payment in crypto. And then
Hmm.
in the back end, Ripe is handling all the transactions between the crypto and then the TradFi rails, which is GrabPay and so on in US dollar.
Hmm.
So for you as a user, the only thing you see is scan the QR code, pay in crypto, you're done, right? And everything else is being done in the back end. Cool use case for people that want to pay in crypto in Southeast Asia.
That's really, really cool. I hope that they expand to more regions because I would be interested in experimenting with it.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I think they're breaking in the market down there, and then they will expand to markets where obviously where it's needed, right? We need to have that
Right.
infrastructure of QR payment, because here where I am in New York right now, no one uses QR codes to pay or something. Like everything is
Yeah,
cash or
no,
card.
that's not a thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing. But anyway, as I was saying, they've been also in Dubai. So that happened in the past weeks. Actually, it's over now. I think last weekend was the last weekend, end of October, for the Solana Founders Villa V2, which is
Hmm.
a bi-yearly gathering. So far, it's like every 6 months-ish. That's the plan of Solana founders in Dubai. Last time it was, when was it? February, right? You know, where we met. It was around
Yeah.
February, March. Around that time, there was the first Solana Founders Villa, and it happened in a very nice complex in Dubai, where up to 60 founders, or even more actually, can co-live together in the same complex. And every day they have agenda, they have workshops, people coming in. It's just packed with program. And obviously you can have a good time with your fellow founders and bond and connect.
I actually thought you were going to say lift, which is actually kind of true for you. You were like lifting with other people at the
You
because
can
they have a
also
gym,
lift.
so you can co-live and co-lift, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was this time it was very well organized. Like every morning at 7:30 in the garden, there was like a meeting spot. And then the group did some like group workouts and kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So like you like what some of the people did was literally kind of circle workout at 7:30. Then they did like ice bath. Then they did some breathing session. They had a protein shake, and then it was like 9 a.m. and then they started their day. So that's there was like for most the routine. And we had a good time. And for me, it's always like so valuable because there's a lot of good things that happen out of Solana Founders Villa. So we wouldn't be here without Solana Founders Villa doing this
Yeah.
podcast because that's where we literally met for the first time, and where
Yes,
from there
that
on,
is true.
so I think things like this just happen out of these events. And so we like as Solana ID, we find projects that we work with, we find investors there that invest in us, and we find community there that joins our channels and involves themselves with the project. That's all we need. So pretty bullish on Solana Founders Villa.
Wait, so is it true that they have ice baths now as like a permanent feature of the
Bro,
complex? Because
yeah. Last time it wasn't
they
there.
did not, dude, I love ice baths. So it's just kind of like,
Mm.
what? I feel like I missed out there big time. I mean, there's
What
a bunch of shit that I missed out on, but the ice baths for sure is something that I
the
feel a lot of FOMO
ice
on.
bath for sure. Like, you know what I did at the end? Because like usually everyone went in the morning. And then you don't want to go after like 10 other people went in the ice bath. And it's like also warm, like it's like it's not the best. So what I did was I just after because I work like very late usually. So at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. or some shit, I close my Mac and I go in the garden. Everyone is sleeping and just
Yeah.
hop in the ice bath and just meditate there for like 4 or 5 minutes. I go out, I stretch a bit, and then I sleep like a stone for some reason. But there was more. There was my routine over there. What's the coldest you do in the ice bath? What's like a low degree number? Do you know that
I
you hit
have no, because I've never done a proper ice bath. The only time I've ever been to these like kind of cold pools
cold plunge? Yeah.
is like either in California or in like a Japanese
Like a
spa or like a
spa.
Korean
Mm,
spa. They don't really put the
mm.
temperatures there.
Okay.
So like I actually have no idea what
Yeah.
I'm capable of. Probably not that cold, but I do love a good cold soak.
Yeah. No. Hey, it's really healthy as well, and it's good for your nervous system, for your circulation. Like usually it goes to like 5 degrees. That's like pretty for me. That's pretty tough. But you can survive for like 3 minutes there. That's like a good range you can aim for. But
I see.
anyway, Pound was great, not only because of the ice bath, also because of the people and everything. And we definitely missed you. But maybe at the next one, there's going to be a next one next year, um,
Oh, absolutely.
around
Count me
token.
in.
So yeah, that would be amazing. What else happened in the Solana event space? Anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have one that just passed, the
Mm-hmm.
Hong Kong Hacker House. So I wasn't able to go, unfortunately. My co-founder Richard covered for us. It was obviously very packed looking at the footage. Nam
Yeah.
actually just wrote a tweet that said that he did the math and he's been to like 31 out of 40 hacker houses since its inception, which is
Wow,
insane. Holy crap, dude.
that's insane.
He
Different animal
obviously
metal.
has leveraged those very well. Yeah, I mean, like, and to be fair, that's been our playbook as well. Just like obviously not anywhere near as prolific as the Bonk Moonwalk. I mean, he's working on a
Mm,
million different things, so I don't really. He's working on
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, Hong Kong Hacker House just passed, so I heard that was a very successful event. For some people, it's going to be their last event of the year. I've
for the
seen
year.
a lot of kind of goodbye posts to the Solana circuit for 2024. It's all like, we're done. It's a wrap for 2024 travel.
Yeah.
Um, but there is one more event that's coming up, which is Singapore Ignition Week, which I believe is starting on November 4th or 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. And a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of different teams in the region have been invited over to Singapore. It's very much, I'd say, a rerun of Founders Villa, but kind of like Asia edition. So
Cool.
very excited for all the work that Nick Tong is
Mm-hmm.
doing. Obviously, he's been inspired by the work that our very good friend Alex is doing over in Dubai. So
Yeah,
very bullish on Singapore Ignition Week.
100%. And he has also great people around him, like the whole Singapore team, like Kimmy and everyone. Like they do such a
Yeah,
good job at holding community together, producing good content. Like they're brand new, right? Like they've been active with the SG builders since a while, and now they spun up this
yeah,
first super team from Singapore. So
yeah,
pretty good stuff. Ignition Week, I'm not going to be there, but it's going to be pretty good, I think, especially because it's Singapore. So
yeah.
there's one more though, in November, the DEF CON. So it's not like a Solana
Yes.
centric event, but there is a few Solana people that go there. I know that. So maybe you also know from your circle a few people that go. So there will be some Solana side events at DEF Connect. But obviously, it's more like an Ethereum-centric event as usually, like Dev Connect itself. Usually, you have the ETH Global around it, which is the Ethereum hackathon. But then I think the crypto community just uses it as a good place to gather again and have some other side events as well for other ecosystems. At the end, we're all friends, right? So
Yeah.
the Solana people will also will be going to Bangkok. My co-founder is also going to be on site, but for myself, I'll skip Asia for this year. Too much flying back and forth, so
Yes.
I stay on the conferences here in Europe for the rest of this year.
So, I mean, if you look at the kind of the strategy that the Solana events team has taken over the last few years, it's super fascinating. 3 years
Mm,
ago, they did 24 events in a year. So it's literally two hacker houses a month, which is insane. Last year, they did one hacker house a month. And then this year, they did four hacker houses for the entire year.
mm,
And you might be wondering, like, okay, well, then where have all the resources been going towards then? It's actually been the thesis has been like, okay, we've already hit all of these cities, and so we've been able to spin up local Solana communities. And now we're going to go to these bigger events, like DevCon, for example.
mm,
And because we already have a significant presence in a lot of the countries that we're going to,
mm,
it just makes sense to try to grab more mind share from people who would otherwise never get in contact with Solana. I mean, like like on Twitter,
for sure.
how segregated the algorithm is, right? Like if
Yes,
you're in the ETH
Solana
bubble or the
bubble.
Solana bubble,
Mm,
I never hear anything from ETH, and that's actually to my detriment. It would be
yeah,
better if I actually were to hear
true.
more. The conferences are the only time that I actually have any real exchange, which is
Mm.
sad. I wish I had more information exchange with that ecosystem.
100%, I agree. Like the only time I hear something about Ethereum in my Twitter feed is when someone from Solana reposts an Ethereum-centric post and kind of shits on it. Like, and
Yeah.
like says something like there was this podcast with Bankless between this kind of professor that guy that was on the show, a very smart man, like very kind of communicating very well. And like the whole show was about kind of again ETH versus Sol, and why he's bullish on Ethereum, and why Sol has some architectural problems and issues and everything. And then basically, yeah, they covered this in the whole show. For me, it was great. Like I love those shows because it gives me the other side of the coin, right? Like the bear case for Solana. I want to know like alternative scenarios because it helps me to shape my opinion in a way that's just more authentic. I feel because I have the full data set. Obviously, some things that he said I don't agree with fundamentally, and I also don't think it's like the best way to do it as a media company to bring only Ethereum bulls on your Ethereum show. Like
Sure.
like but to the defense of Bankless, they also brought in Anatoly before and other people. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I think it's good to stay informed, and we will also do a session I think one time in the future where we just cover, because we said it before, where we just cover the ETH and Sol kind of topic. Maybe we can bring someone on the show that's a bit more bullish on Ethereum, and then we can chat a bit about the case against Solana, even, and see if they can convince us.
I've actually been shopping around. Since we
Okay.
last talked about that idea, I've been speaking to random folks who I respect, who are much more in the Ethereum ecosystem than Solana. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, like if you feel comfortable arguing with us on camera, like I'd love to like have a substantive discussion about
Yeah.
what your general thoughts are on Solana and kind of where do you think the Ethereum ecosystem is going
Mm.
in 5 years' time. So like I definitely have been shopping around, and I know that you're super connected in that space as well. So like we can definitely find somebody.
We can find somebody. Yeah. We might even end up one day where we're gonna have a conversation with the bankless chats. So it's gonna be Eno and Simon and then Brian and David from Bankless, Sol Brothers and Bankless talking about Sol versus ETH. I think we should do that one day.
I got a lot of homework to do, brother.
Oh, for sure. We should come prepared for this. Never come unprepared for war. That's a bad
Yes.
that's a bad idea. Anyway, it
All
has been
right,
a pleasure as
Simon.
usual. We covered so much. I hope everyone who tuned in here got some value out of it and you got the latest news. Stay tuned for the next one. We're shipping these approximately every 2 weeks, plus minus a week, into your Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, or wherever you want to watch us. You'll hear of us. So, has been a pleasure as usual. See you at the next one.
Thanks, Simon. Take it easy, brother.